Very warm good morning to all the participants. Kindly confirm my audibility and video feed for the session. Am I audible? Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Okay. First of all, I would like to welcome.
The light or dark.
Sir, I think
light.
First of all, I would like to welcome the guest speaker of today's session. We have Dr. K. Shivakumar, who is a renowned psychologist and psychiatrist, Sukha organization. We will know more about him during the guest introduction. Before that, I would like to give a brief introduction on why we have organized the session for today. Today's session is planned to celebrate the World Environment Day. As we all know, this International World Environment Day is being commemorated across the globe in connection with United Nations Environmental Program, UNEP, since 1973. So every year, people gather around the world for the cause of environment and to protect it from going into a dangerous zone. We have only one Earth. This year, they have selected the theme as One Planet, One Life, and One Earth. So it's also a true statement because we have one planet among the entire constellation, and it is our own responsibility, being the primordial species, protected. So today's guest speaker would be briefing you more on the ecological attitude and environmental behavior, and how to approach as a human being, how to approach with logics and apply functionalities in protecting the environment. I hope this session would be useful to you, and have a wonderful day. Now I request Srishma, Assistant Professor of Microbiology, to introduce our guest speaker. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, sir. Am I audible? So, a warm good morning to one and all present here. And it is an immense pleasure for me to introduce our today's chief guest, most honored Dr. Shivakumar Kannappan, founder and director of Manasuga Consultancy and the director of Training and Placement Division of Srimati Indira Gandhi College, Tiruchirappalli. He is a dynamic human resource and a social work professional for more than 2 decades of continuous learning in academics, corporate, institutional training, and entrepreneurial development. The learning has proven the ability to bring a new pedagogy for the teaching and learning process. He has helped in solving problems and initiating dynamic knowledge workforce in decision making with an ability to simplify complex issues and develop succinct strategies focused on execution for development. And he has written a couple of books for his credit and has published quite good research papers in both national and international journals. And he has attended many number of conferences at both international and national, and has served as an expert in conferences and research panels at many occasions. And he has a passion towards counseling, research, training, and social work activities. And we are so thankful for you, sir, for being here with us. And thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Sir, the dais is now yours. You can start the presentation. And before sir would be addressing the gathering, participants, your video camera and mic will be on mute. Once the presenter starts his address, your mic will be enabled so that you can interact. Kindly make use of this session and have this as an interactive session. Please interact with the guest and make sure the theme of this event is brought into success. Thank you.
Very well, good morning. I'm audible?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you. First and foremost, I'd like to thank the Ratan College who has given me this opportunity on this Environmental Day, where everybody, or every corner of the world, people are celebrating, and still it is bringing a lot of awareness to the people. First, I'd like to thank the coordinator, Sobia Madam, who has called me and engaged me into this activity on this particular day. I'd like to thank the head of the Department of Psychology, Dr. Sanjit Kumar, and Dr. Srinivasan of Microbiology Department. So today the topic is well said. It is on environmental attitude and ecological behavior. The relevant topic that is to be addressed today, when people all are talking about environmental protection, how to preserve environment, we are a little bit concerned on the attitude and behavior of humans. How we take, how do we consider the environment into our daily activities? The environmental attitude and ecological behavior talks about psychological perspective of the environment on people's minds. When we talk about mind is not something which is physically present. It is something that consciously how we act upon the environment. When I mention consciousness, it is something invisible, but making ourselves aware of what we do on our daily basis. So we directly or indirectly, knowingly or unknowingly, we are exploiting this entire environment, and that is a result that we are facing a lot of hurdles into our daily life, whether it can be physical well-being or a psychological well-being or social well-being or emotional well-being or a spiritual well-being. All the aspect of well-being that we are talking about today is being affected or damaged. It is not about how the environment is given back. It is that how what damage that we have done to the environment, that damage is caused back to the human life. So this Environment Day is not just an awareness, it is something that we have to put in action. How we think and how do we behave. So attitude and behavior of an individual will bring in a lot of changes in this particular environment. So let not think or let not concise ourselves to the local environment. Let us think global. So almost there are 194 countries today, and we are being proud to say that everybody is enjoying what they want today. Technological improvements have happened, logistics is happening, and we are able to fly in any corner of the world today, and anything can be got in any part of the world. But we should be very conscious to understand how this has happened and what could be the replication in the future. And almost in the past 2 years, we could come across a pandemic situation, which is not just a, a, a thing that has happened suddenly. It has taken some time, and now people have understood something is given back from the environment, and we should be much cautious about what we are going to do in the future. So this environmental attitude and ecological behavior. So deforestation, afforestation, we talk about climate changes, all people talking about in jargons. But where even WHO is not touching upon the behavior and attitude of individuals will have an impact on the environment that we live. So my topic at the presentation will be around the environmental attitude and ecological behavior of humans. How we are going to take forward our mindset, be conscious in our life. So please do understand when I talk about consciousness, it is invisible, but making and creating something that can be positive for our work life. Thank you. So I'll start with my presentation, and we'll have a question answer session at the end of my session. If you have anything to be asked in between also, you can just raise your hand so that or you can chat so I can give back whatever I know or whatever I've accomplished. Thank you.
Participants and instruction, kindly use the raise hand option to converse with the guest. Once you click the raise hand option, the guest will be notified, and you can unmute and discuss with the guest. We are expecting you to provide maximum cooperation and discuss with the guest and gain more information. Thank you.
Are you able to see my slides?
No, sir, not yet.
No, you're able to view it?
No, sir.
No.
Now it's visible, sir.
Now it's visible. No, it's okay, sir.
Yes, sir. Just give the full screen option so that we can go forward.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you for your feedback. So, as discussed earlier, the entire world, the 30% of the land that we are occupied from the entire cake of the universe, or you can say the Earth spectrum, how far we have been utilizing for our own being on our daily basis. Let's put our thought into it and let us start with the presentation. So I'll be touching on the attitude of an individual, attitude of the social behavior, and how do we relate to the ecology. So before moving into the topic, let us understand what is environmental attitude. So when you split these two words, one is called environmental and another is called attitude. When you talk about attitude, attitude is something how a person perceives one thing. It can be a subject or an object. So, but the perception left to the human mind, how they think. So, the same way, the environmental attitude that I'm talking here, it is a tendency that has been expressed by evaluating perceptions, right? We have certain beliefs. The beliefs of the culture or certain things that is being imbibed in each and every individual by the from the family or the society or the pure learning. So we have learned, and that becomes a culture at one point of time. This culture factor is one of the important things that has a lot to do with the environmental changes that we're going to talk about or the attitude changes that we're going to talk about. So this attitude can be sometimes favorable or sometimes it can be disfavorable. Always attitude cannot be positive. Always it cannot be negative in both ways. Trying to build in each and every individual as how far it is going to reflect on the society and how the society sees the environment. So when you talk about the next point that you are talking about ecological behavior, that can be put in a different form. Ecological means a balance. A balance is required in our environment. Is there any ecological balance? As of now, we could straight away say no. How? So we have been stating that deforestation, air pollution, then climate changes, then the chemical formation that is being explored from the industry. In what all this are affecting the environment and whether it has to be addressed. So when you talk about ecological, we have heard about Panchapodam. Five. We talk about water, we talk about fire, we talk about air, we talk about land, and we talk about the sky. Putting all this five, it should be well balanced. If some, for example, if you take our body system, if the water level content is reduced, automatically dehydration happens. We have to consume water. Likewise, there is some deficiency in our sodium, potassium, or whatever may be, the compensation which has an impact. If there is some changes in the chemical in our body, the imbalance starts, and we get fainted, or we are put in the drastic end. Likewise, in environment, but people don't much care about what is. We think that at some corner of the world something is happening and nothing will happen to me. Today, it is not so. At one point, something happening is going to affect the other part of the globe. So the system is well connected. The environment is well connected. It is only the time factor that takes some time that is being affected one part, and it takes some time to affect the other part. That's it. But the environment, once it has been affected, is affected. So this behavior changes can what in the minds of the people by ecological thinking, the ecological balances. So in order to make this behavior changes, we have to think in two forms. One is environmental preservation and conservation. Environmental preservation is something that you try to preserve what is in existence. And if something is damaged in the past, how do we conserve it in the future? We talk about tree plantations. We talk about solar energy, renewable energy that we started to do it. And we can see that electric bikes have come in, electric cars are coming. And we see that we are going under alternative technology or alternative energy. This all is an impact because, again, there is a problem there. Wherever you talk about electric car or electric bikes, there's a problem. We started to use batteries. And the batteries are consisting of chemicals, and once after it is being used and it is being thrown out in the environment again. And even today you use cell phones, the mobiles, and hardly the lifetime of a mobile used by an individual, it could be 1 year. A different model comes in, and each and every individual, you could see that they carry two mobile in a hand. And when they buy a new mobile, what will happen to the mobile they use it? The battery which has been used there, the component that has been used there, the design that is the design panel that has been used, everything has been thrown into the environment. And today we talk about the satellites. That is going to become a big garbage at the level of space garbage, because the life of a satellite could be around 15 years, and after 15 years, what is going to happen? And so much of satellites are being launched with different countries. So at one point of time, we could see that there will be a lot of collides that might happen at the space level also. So putting all this into context, the environmental effect, the environment that has been affected in and around us, ultimately is going to affect the human life, the quality of life of individuals. The quality of life of an individual is to live happily for a longer period of life. If you say a life of a human, it should be 85 plus years of lifetime. But what is the average age of each and every country? You can check with the average age of India is around 65. And even less people die. What could be the reason? These are all has to be thought on our daily habits, behavior, and attitude. If not, we have to suffer, and we have to see to that the environment gives back what we have given to the environment. So when you talk about environmental disaster and quality of human life, whenever there is a disaster in the environment, so are you able to see my slides? Is the slides moving? Excuse
The
me.
slides are visible, but it's not changing, sir. I think there is a version difference between your PowerPoint and the Teams. So
Okay, now it's okay, sir. Now it's okay.
he would relate to me as well. Thank you.
Hope you can view it now.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, please. Thank you. So we think that environmental disaster does not have any impact on quality of human life, but there is a lot of connection and correlation. There are a lot of studies that has come in research work where they state that whenever there is some environmental issues, the quality of human life is affected. One example, you take a flood. What when flood happens? Suppose, for example, let us not go to America or US. Let us look into Chennai. What has happened? 2 years back, there was a flood at Chennai, and there was a drastic damage to the entire city. And human life was in a question mark for at least for 15 to 20 days. They didn't have proper food. There was communicable disease which has been spreading. People were migrating from place to place. People losing jobs. People losing life. So it is a disaster which is not caused by the environment. It is a disaster which we have caused to the environment, and that's what we get from the environment at one point of time. So these are the disasters which we, because a lot of trees have been cut down. Even today, people say that we do a lot of sapling plantation or tree plantation, and we do hackathon, walkathon, all sort of things that we try to walkathon, marathon, lot of things are there, and it happens for a day. Unless we see that the forests are created. Today we talk about green corridors that has to be uh, protected by each and every country or at a place where we live. So, moving to the next point, quality of life has been affected by climate change. Here today we talk about climate change world over. People, top leaders meet and they discuss about it and how the emission of carbon dioxide can be reduced from each and every country. There are countries who sign it. There are countries who still need some time to get into that uh, treaty and sign it, and still it takes a lot of time. So the quality of life today, suppose you take an example in Delhi, people are not able to move out during winter because the, the air, which has been much polluted, people without mask, they cannot move out, or people are affected by asthma or some sort of lung problem. They have been affected because of the climate changes which is happening because of the pollution, and definitely the quality of life of people will get affected. And as I said earlier, when the environment is going to be affected, the food that we take is being affected, the water we drink, the air we breathe, and whether we experience it, right? So today you could see that everywhere with a hot wave, which is being across nation, and we say earlier it was we were been talking about 35 degree, 38-degree. Today we are talking about 40-degree, 45-degree, where we can see the temperatures year by year is increasing. And because of the increase of weather, the people, even the old age people, the pregnant women, the athletes, the labor who are working on the hot sun, they get stroke, they get some sort of skin diseases because ultraviolet. We say that ozone layer is being affected, and it directly affects each and every human being. And a lot of the disease, unpredictable disease that has been spread all over today. I mean, even water, the pattern of drinking water today, we are not able to get a pure water, clean water to drink. And the food that we eat is all we are today. We're talking about organic food, and we say that this has been created with all natural manure, right, and it's been grown nature. And what about the other fruits or the vegetables that we buy in the market? They say a lot of pesticides being used, and the pesticides is going to affect the land as well as the crops that we grow. And at the end of the day, the food that is being taken is going to affect the individual. The World Health Organization in 2016 estimated and predicted that in the year of 2030 and 2050, due to the climate change, there will be approximately 250,000 additional deaths per year. 250,000. In addition, it is not going to be 250. In addition to the death rate, what is happening now, we are going to have an alarming high raise in the death rate around 250,000 because of malnutrition, diarrhea, and health stress. What is malnutrition? Malnutrition is something that people are not able to get the right calories. All malnourished mothers will be there, malnourished children will be there because of inadequate calories of food, or even they don't get food. And diarrhea is something that when such pesticides are being used and people start to consume, what happens? They get affected by the pesticides. It is today. It is not that we get pure organic vegetables or fruits or any cereals that we eat. Everything is being used by some other chemicals. And today we talk about heat stress. People are not moving out of home. Whenever people say that before 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, let's go out and come back, and people stay at home. And people does not move out because of the heat. What happened? If the heat increases, people stay at home, people get depression, people get stress, people get tension, which will have an disharmony in the family. Even it can lead to suicidal thoughts. Even it can have some uh, misunderstanding, because the stress can lead to any form of misbehavior or any sort of thing that can, and people will take chances of breaking the stress. So who's going to address all these issues? So when an individual thought is not put on the environment, it definitely is going to affect the entire society. So when you talk about problems, we talk about environmental problems, and who causes the problem? Definitely human and the human behavior. Even today, we don't have a habit of putting unwanted things. Suppose you have a chocolate, even the chocolate papers are not put in dustbins. The water that we carry, where we use plastic pets, we drink water and throw it then and there. And during flood, what happens? All this garbages goes to the drainage. It gets stuck, and the water gets overflowed and backs up to the roads, and all the garbages which flows on the roads and people who walks on will get affected. And at last, this all goes to the sea, and sea gets polluted over there. And if that sea gets polluted, you can see all the living things that is living in the sea or the river gets affected. And during the process, when all these garbages or the polluted water that is being polluted in the rivers, even that water does not is not good for drinking. So who causes this? So we talk about environment is doing that, this, that, flood is there, heat is there, air pollution is there. Everything is happening because of human behavior. Humans are greedy to exploit this world. It is not to exploit, it is to See how we conserve it. So as we state, today environmental problems are considered as anthropogenic environmental problem. That means what? It is all the problem that happens in the environment is because of the attitude of human beings toward the environment. It is only the attitude of the behavior. If the attitude of the behavior changes once, what? Suppose you take an example of Singapore. If you walk onto the roads, you cannot see as even a single garbage or a small bit of paper on the road, because the way that individual habits, attitude, and behavior is being cultured in the minds of the people over there. Even people don't spit. People keep entire environment clean and hygienic. Is it so here? It is not so. We are not able even to keep our classrooms or the place of work or the workstation, the work table, or the place that we live. We don't ever take much conscious in keeping the things around us clean. And today, take an example, we have a culture called apartment system where people to stay at apartments, and people does not even see greenery. So if at all we want to see greenery, people go for a picnic or an excursion or even for a long trip to see greeneries. There are places where people years together, they don't see greeneries. What could be their mental imbalances? Greenery is something that keeps you calm, composed. Whenever you see a greenery, your mind comes calm, composed. Going along with the lawn, going in a forest, hearing the chips of the birds. Is it possible in the city? Even today, you cannot see crows. And people does not mind it because we are being immersed using the technology. We think the technology is the world. We think that it is only the thing that we need to enjoy. And you can see the repercussion, what really happens. People are in stress, depression, anxiety, psychosis, neurosis, a lot of problems that you can see. Even a newborn baby at the age of 1 or 2, when the baby starts to speak, talks about tension. I'm tension. They say I'm stressed because people are not taking babies to the nearby park. Park is not available. Whenever they go out, even a small child gets infected. So where we are talking about the environment, clean environment, friendly environment, ecological balances. So environment is recognized only in terms of the instrumental value. So we try to use it as an instrument, but we don't consider it as intrinsic value unless you value. That's what in our traditional or in our historical people, even nature was worshipped as a god. They thought that the nature should not be harmed, it should not be damaged, because that is God, which gives us life. So it should not be the instrumental value. It is not converting that nature into physical value. We have to give that intrinsic value to the environment that we live. So the ultimate topic that we are discussing here is something that we have to move from move from ecocentric approach to the humans. From a human-centric approach to ecocentric approach. So, what is that human-centric approach to ecocentric approach? Human-centric approach is somewhere I read somewhere. I think that somewhere in a Bible quote it has been quoted that everything that is being created in this world, whether it can be a fish or a bird or animals or a creeps or the creature, all sort of animals on the land, or all things that is being created is for human. It cannot be there. It is a cultural thing that people take into and see that it is that everything is created for me, so I'll try to explore it or exploit it. It is not that. It should move from human centric to eco-centric. How this environment can help me out. In spite of thinking that how I can explore or exploit the environment, we can think that in what way that I can help the environment or conserve the environment to be. So today, psychological well-being is not with people. We all started to sit and work within the four walls. All right from the morning till evening, all sort of products that we use are chemical. And we don't have a proper air to breathe, water to drink, proper food. Even people don't have a proper happy relations with each and everyone. So the first approach that people can consider out of my presentation is that moving from human-centric to eco-centric approach. And let us people take this mantra, ecological education across, right from schools to college to industries, talking about giving awareness and action-oriented programs can be implemented. Today, there are campuses with green environment, which is very appreciable and very much thankful to the people thoughts who are doing it. So, this ecological education talks about the balances between the physical well-being, emotional well-being, the psychological well-being, the spiritual well-being, and social well-being. So, when you talk about the physical well-being, an individual, when the health is lost, when health is lost, everything is lost. So, physical well-being of an individual is much more important. So, how can you keep your physical well-being? It could be a Christian in all mind. It is not just doing exercise, having good diet. I'm talking about the physical includes your way that you think, the way that you see, the way that you do. Everything composite together is called physical well-being. Each and every part of your body. Then moving to the emotional well-being, how do you get connected with the nature? How do you connect with people? Emotional well-being, emotions are of different kinds. The feel, the happiness, uh, the way that you smile, is everything counts to be your life. But most of the time, emotion is something that we talk about anger, anxiety, depression, the other part of negative. When you talk about positive, we have to talk about happiness. Sorry, happiness. When today we ask about are you happy? People wonder what is happiness. People ask us how to be happy. When you ask them, are you feeling sorrow? Yes, I do follow. I'm sorrow and sad, and they're giving a big explanation for what. But being happy, how to be happy, people never think about. And today, something is that it has become a very costly affair to be happy. And when you talk about psychological well-being, that's what mental well-being of an individual is much more important than physical well-being. The psychological well-being is something that when you're strong in your mind, strong in your conscience, you're able to do anything. That is your habit, that is your belief, that is your culture. The psychological factor of an individual is that how much you believe in you, how much you manifest in you, that is you're trying to give it up. If you are not strong, You cannot manifest anything. So if you're strong enough, you think about others. Thinking others is not only thinking people, you think about environment. So the message here is the psychological well-being is making you happy, making the environment happy, being conscious in what we do, and next moving to the spiritual well-being. When I talk about spiritual well-being, people might think it is something related to God, religion. It is not so here. I'm talking about spiritual well-being is something that the, the way the people can give back to the society, give back to the environment what best they can. It is something moving from a self-actualization to a self-esteem level. What is self-actualization is something that you try to achieve something in your life. After that, you have to give back to the society. What is that going to give back to the society? Creating a good environment for the future. What are we going to create? Even a small sapling taken care for years together has grown as a big tree. If each individual in a country start to do that, the population is it is around 140 crores. So everyone, think about the numbers. Even a 50% of the population does it. We can eradicate most of the problem that we are facing today. The spiritual well-being that I'm talking here is that what you can give back to this society. Then we talk about social well-being as a society. Social well-being, people mostly are forgetting today. People are individual, people are self-centric. Even put to very specific to say that they talk about self. We have to move from selfish to selfless. Are we so? For example, if you build a house in a plot of 1,400 or 2,500, whatever is square feet, how much of land is let out for growing small creeps or small plants to grow along with us? We occupy the entire area and we cannot even see a vacant place or a soil cannot be seen into the entire compound. And people moving out of home does not see anything that is related to environment, just to see the physical things in and around them. It is something is to be addressed. The social well-being is something that relating yourself to the society and how do you relate the society to yourself. So unless individual contributes to the society, society will never grow. So when individual changes comes in, definitely we can assure that the social well-being of people can be ensured. To put in the nutshell, the final word that I like to give is the change in attitude behavior of human towards environment. Environment is doing its best. It gives its best. Whatever happens, it gives us. Even the monsoon changes, it gives water, it gives air, it gives soil, whatever is needed. Still, it does its work. But the responsible citizen of India, responsible citizen of the universe, the responsible citizen of the future, we have to change our attitude and behavior towards protecting and conserving the nature, conserving the people, take into account happiness is life. It is not explore, it is not exploit. It is live in a friendly environment. That's what I mean. Life means live in a friendly environment. So if you are not friendly with the environment, you're not living, you're just existing. There is a difference between existing and living. I recommend people to live than to exist in this world. Existing is something that you exist in this world, explore something, exploit something, you get away from this world. But if you live, people will think about you, what you've done for the society. And you, as an individual, we could have enjoyed the life happily. So live with happiness, with the environment, and the environment gives back to you how you want to live a life. We get, and that's what I've been telling about this Panjabhudam, the the water, air, soil, the sky, the air, all these five components are much more important, which is being well preserved by our ancestors. But still, we can go back and think and see that what can be done to the future. We can still have long way to go, and let us not think about 2030 or 2050, what is going to happen, and the predictions of the numbers which is given by WHO. All can change when this attitude and behavior changes. The numbers will reverse, and we could have a good eco balance environment with physical well-being, emotional, psychological, spiritual, and social. And I hope that each and every one here will try to contribute something to the society, and it should be an action-based environmental changes to the minds of the people. And the place where you are, you can do small things. It is not necessary that when people are when we ask people to do something in society, they say that I don't have a space. Even a small pot, you can grow a small plant which could be accommodated in your place where you live. There is a lot of changes that can be brought in, because these small plants that you grow in your home will bring in good psychological balances. Let us balance between the environment and the psychological thing that could happen. That's why I could understand that the three departments today have come to in collaboration: the psychological department, the microbiology department, and the counseling department, which has come together to see that all three are important for the future. And hope that this will continue, and hope from today onwards we contribute something to the society. Thank you. And before closing my session, I like to play a video. Just it could be of 3 minutes to 4 minutes of video, and after that we can go for Q&A. And I'll be welcoming questions from your end, or comments or criticism, whatever it may be. I'm here to accept with happiness. Thank you. Sorry, that video is not able to be uh, played. So I'll take up your questions, and we can have some interactions. Hello. The floor is open to the audience, please. I'm audible? So I'm audible? Hello?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yes, yes. So now let us open for the audience for question and answers, sir. Now the floor is open for questions or any sort of comments or any sort of sharing, please.
Thank you, sir. I want to ask one question.
Yeah, please welcome.
what's the good plan to global warming reduce?
So you're talking about global warming.
Yeah, how can we put a good plan that will reduce number of the global warming?
See, global warming is something is not with very specific to one thing. You could see that one, the climate changes because of deforestation, right? One is because a lot of trees have been cut and global gets warmed. And other one, we started to the emission of carbon dioxide from a vehicle that we use. And the third thing, the pollution that is happening from industries. These are certain causes. But there should be a transformation thought in the minds of the industrialist, in the minds of the government, in the minds of the individual to see to that I will not pollute my environment. If at all we do certain things, let us suppose you take a chemical industry which they do a lot of process with the chemical. When the water is let out, let it be out through using effluent treatment plant (ETP). Suppose you take Tirupur here, nearby to your place, how many industries do have ETP, effluent treatment plant? Without treating the waters are being straight away let down in this in the river. So it is who's responsible? It's the responsible of the individual as well as the industry person who runs it, or the regulatory body, the pollution department, the regulatory body, whatever action they're going to take up. These are the certain policy decision and individual decision that is more important when you talk. See, global warming, we're talking about in perspective of global arena. Why this global warming actually happens? Because of an individual at every point, every corner of the globe. If people start to change the attitude and behavior that I will not pollute my land, it is like taking care of your body, it is taking care of your family, you have to take care of the environment. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. My next question is: we are now going every day there is increasing of the penetration of ozone layer, and it is being too dangerous. And who is responsible from this penetration making many diseases under the world?
So when you talk about ozone layer, so you can see behind me, uh, you can see an air conditioner machine which is running, right?
Yes, sir.
So it should be when you create an environment which could be cool around you, and these machines can be thrown out. But today, because of the heat that we have created because of deforestation, and because of the heat, people are unbearable to sit in the hot, scorching sun. That's what I'm using air conditioning behind me. So think about how many air conditioning machines are being used on a day basis, and how much of carbon dioxide is being emitted. And this is going to be definitely affect the ozone layer. I'm telling one example. And second, you say refrigerators. And third, I'm talking about vehicle. And who's responsible? Today, we don't have a habit of using sharing. Two person moving from one place to other place use two different vehicles. So the sharing mechanism can be that you can start thinking on that angle that people moving from one place to other, if there are people around you, that is called community building. Community building is that sharing your motor vehicle. When people move from one place to other, you can share your vehicle. There people can accommodate so that we can reduce usage of vehicles. And whenever you talk about alternative, again we are getting to a problem. Whenever you go into electric or renewable energy, again the battery. I don't understand where is it going to dispose the batteries. Today we have batteries around, so people charge it, and the lifetime of battery could be for 4 years or 5 years, or it can be maximum 7 years. After that, where is the batteries are going to be thrown back? So all this contamination which happens in the environment is going to affect the ozone layer. When the ozone layer gets affected, the ultraviolet rays which comes straight. Today we use all sort of screen lotions to protect our skin. It cannot happen. So we cannot put a screen on the sky and shade it out to see that there will be no radiation. The only thing that we can do is that we could check that the ozone layer still is not going bigger. That's what we can try to protect it. That's called conservation.
Thank you, sir, for clear explanation. We are very happy to having you today.
Thank you. Thank you. Any more? I can take one or two more questions, please. If there is no question, let us see that organizers can move out and see that if it's possible, or we can wind up the session, please. Am I audible? Can I have your response, please?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. If there are no more questions, let us wind up the session. Or if there is any question, I'm ready to take up, please. Sir, Srinivasan, sir. Soumya, madam.
Yes, sir.
Is there any more questions, madam, or?
Yes, sir. Students, you have any more questions you want to ask, or you want to clarify something? You can ask. Do you have any doubts, people?
They are from which country, madam? There were some people had some questions. They are from which country, madam?
I guess.
I'm from Sudan, sir.
You are from which country?
From Sudan.
Sudan. Oh, great, great.
Yes, sir.
Nice. What's your good name?
My name is Abdul.
Abdul. Abdul
Yes,
Majid.
sir. Abdul
Great,
Majid.
great. Right. One other person was there. He's from the same place or from a different place?
Excuse me, sir.
There was other person who asked the question. He's from the same place or from a different place?
Same place.
Okay. Okay. One thing that I had to get input from you. How good for the environmental pattern or living pattern of the people? Because you've been into a different country and you are living in a different country and you're going back to your country, right? How do you see it? Mr. Abdul?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you are here from a different country, and how do you see our country? And now, what is the thing that you go back and do to your country? How do you see the difference between both countries?
Yeah, thank you for question. Sir. I am already microbiology student, so I trying to my maximum number to reduce the number of what we living and what we see now for the environment pollution, and that's making money. disease for human life. So maximum today in my house I have like six or no three box, okay, that I separating any kind of waste I bring here and put or bags or crystals for water, okay, or any can that's bigger size or small size, and I separate anyone in different size, and then I will package each one separately, and then I will give to recycling people, some workers here for health care. So I separate everything. This is from my point, because if you not start from yourself, you can't change something. If you want to change something, or if you want to prove something, you have to start from yourself. So I doing something for myself. So after I back to my country, I will help to from first time, from people living around me. I will tell him how can keep his environment clean, and how can he or she reduce the number of the pollutions or the environment pollutions. So many important things there is. We like human, if we do just the environment that's around to us, it will be helping to keep our environment clean and community will be healthy. So there's many points here, sometimes for the waste, how can rule your waste and recycling. This situation is going on, but I hope all, if we are all world, not joined to just for environment or the ecosystem, we can reduce something like you said before.
Okay, thank you, Abdul. I appreciate your thoughts. And you can add on one thought is that being a microbiologist, you can also think about some psychological aspects or perspectives. And psychological perspective, people can also think about something about these sciences. And today we are talking about interdisciplinary, will work out, or a multidisciplinary, or multi or cross disciplinary, whatever you call it. Something is there today, it is not a core discipline can grow. It is something that we have to collaborate and work. That will have a great impact to the society.
Yeah, that's right, sir.
That's what I could see from this particular forum or the environment day that you're celebrating. It is some sort of collaboration that you've started to do, and even in activities it could be collaborated. So it will be more appreciable. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Thank you. Any more questions or any thought that you'd like to share in this forum? I'll be happy that if there is people who can share the ideas, because Environment Day is not that just to speak on any topic and just go away with it. Now, let us have some action plan or some sort of decision that we take today, and when we meet the forthcoming days, let us see that you can also take some pictures and send me and say, this is what I've done. That's what I talk about action plans. Anything should not go with just what politician does in papers. Let us start with action plans that could give something to the society. Yes, sir, Srinivasan sir and Soumya madam.
Yes, sir.
Yes, madam. Shall we wind up, madam? If there is no
Yes,
questions to take.
yes, sir. People, you want to
Okay.
ask something? Sir, we have a formal vote of thanks, so we'll just wind up with that.
Before that, I'll make my thanksgiving to entire team.
Sure.
Once I'd like to thank the Ratan Group of institutions at Coimbatore who has given me this opportunity. And I'd like to thank the management and the principal and the heads of the Department of Microbiology and the Psychology Department of the Counseling Cell of Ratan Group of Institution are taking a wonderful opportunity. And only one thought that I have to stress on here is that to have something for the day, that something is action oriented, something that is implemented for the day, and and it could be shared with me, something has been done. So that could be the message that I like to try to give to the entire forum here, so that some action plan has to be done to put forth to create some sort of motivation or some sort of inspiring to others. So I'd like to thank the entire team and the coordinator and the audience who has given this opportunity and listening to me for the past 1 hour. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you. Wish you all the best and happy Environment Day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Happy environment.
Welcome, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Welcome.
Now for the formal vote of thanks. Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to render the vote of thanks for this event. First of all, I would like to thank our resource person, Professor Dr. Keshav Kumar, Director, Training and Placement Division Faculty, HR and OB Management Studies, Srimati Indira Gandhi College, Tiruchirappalli, for his thought-provoking session and shedding light upon various aspects of environmental attitude and ecological behavior, and speaking about the action plans we have to do for our future. Then I would like to thank Dr. Sajid Kumar, Head Department of Psychology, and Dr. P. Srinivasan, Head Department of Microbiology, for their constant support in conducting this event. Then I would like to thank all my fellow colleagues and student participants for their support and active participation in making this event a fruitful one. I hope everyone had a great time. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. Shall I leave the meeting, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Sure. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes.